Most people overpay for products like this. Here's why this one is different. The Klipsch RF-7 floor-standing speakers have been around for a while, but they still manage to pull off a soundstage that many newer models can't match. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. When I first unboxed the pair, the first thing that struck me was the sheer size of the cabinet. It's a black ash wood finish that looks like it belongs in a high-end home theater rather than a bedroom. The 90 by 90 tracked Rix horn on each side isn't just a marketing gimmick, it actually directs the mid-range frequencies straight toward your ears, which means you hear more detail without having to sit dead center. The spun copper cerametallic woofers feel solid, and the cast frame design eliminates the usual resonance you get from cheaper drivers, giving you tighter bass that you can actually feel. If you're the type who watches movies with a lot of low-frequency action, the RF-7 III will let you hear every rumble of a thunderstorm or the subtle shudder of a subway passing beneath the screen. I tried it with a recent sci-fi release, and the explosions didn't just sound loud, they seemed to fill the room, making the experience much more immersive than my old bookshelf speakers ever did. For music lovers, the horn-loaded tweeter brings vocals and acoustic instruments forward, so a folk track that used to sound flat suddenly had clarity and presence. Even when I switched to a fast-paced game, the speakers kept the directional cues accurate, making it easy to tell whether a shot was coming from the left flank or right behind you. Because the speakers are fairly efficient, you don't need a massive amp to drive them. A modest 150-watt receiver does the trick, which is great for apartments where you want big sound without a huge power supply. The wood cabinet also doubles as a piece of furniture. I've left them standing in my living room for months and they still look fresh, no fading or warping, which is a real plus if you're concerned about long-term aesthetics. Another practical benefit is how they handle vocals and dialogue in daily use. I use a smart speaker for podcasts and news briefings, and the RF-7 III makes every word feel like a conversation across the table, cutting through background music without sounding harsh. The wide dispersion means you don't have to rearrange furniture to get the best sweet spot. Even when I move a couch a few feet away, the bass remains punchy and the mids stay clear. The design also accommodates a subwoofer if you ever want to add more low-end power for a dedicated home theater rig, but even standing alone they give you a respectable amount of depth. In my home office, the speakers provide enough volume to mask the occasional street noise without blasting the neighbors. That kind of versatility, from cinema nights to quiet evenings with a vinyl record, is what makes the pair feel like a long-term investment rather than a short-term gimmick. Now, a quick rundown of what I liked and what could be better. On the plus side, the build quality feels premium, the wood veneer is sturdy, and the metal grills hold up to accidental bumps. The tracked Rix horn really does its job, delivering a clean, wide soundstage that you usually only get from much larger cabinets. I also appreciate the fact that the speakers don't need a high-end amp, you can get great performance with a mid-range receiver, which saves both money and space. As for the downsides, the sheer size can be a challenge in tighter rooms. You need enough floor space to let the drivers breathe, otherwise the bass can become a bit boomy. Also, the high-frequency response, while detailed, can feel a little bright if you sit too close, so it helps to keep a reasonable listening distance. Those are relatively minor trade-offs considering the overall performance. All in all, the Klipsch RF-7 III pair feels like a solid middle ground between boutique audiophile gear and everyday home theater speakers. They bring the kind of clarity and power that makes movies, music, and games feel more alive, while the wood finish keeps them looking tasteful in any living space. If you're looking for a speaker that can handle a variety of content without demanding a wall-to-wall setup, these might be exactly what you need. If you're ready to give the RF-7 III a try, you'll find the link below.